Hey, remember that time Hitch was just a genie?
Okay, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so we just saw the, I guess newly on digital, soon to be on physical media, Aladdin, the live version, which now it's like a thing to hate on these things.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later, but we just saw it and I realized that a large portion of this movie is in fact just Hitch with a genie played by the same guy that played Hitch.
Damn, Hitch, dude. Now
So,
we gotta see Hitch for the sequel.
Yeah. So yeah, man. You know, there was a whole commotion about this movie too. It seems that every time Disney makes one of these live action adaptations of their classic hits, people get up in a tizzy and forget that there's like children dying in the world, and maybe they shouldn't be worried about a fucking movie that much. But anyway, they get in a tizzy, and you know, I'm not in that boat. I'm just not. Are you? You give a damn? I don't.
I think there's an issue with calling something live action when it's all just animated.
Well, that's not even a discussion. I'm talking about the movie. Or do you have a problem with there being a readaptation or a live version, however the version, whatever that live criteria might be?
I don't care.
Exactly. And that's the way it should be.
Mainly because I have zero attachment to the freaking animated
Well, let's say it was somebody you had attachment to, you fool. You gotta put yourself in shoes, nutsack. You can't just be making up rules.
I would probably be like, serious?
Would you?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've established that he's a pathetic scumbag like all of you.
Well, look, if they remade a freaking Big Lebowski and it was animated, you'd be like, oh man, really?
It would be foolish endeavor. First, who's gonna animate the Big Lebowski? I kind of want to see that, but it would be foolish.
Yeah.
But would it bother me? No.
So you gotta put yourself in those people's shoes.
I wouldn't care.
Now, granted, those shoes most of the time are retarded.
it's two right shoes.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so we've established that Goontick is a degenerate scumbag cinephile, but that's okay, you know. The point here is that people get up in a fucking tizzy.
Yeah, that is retarded. I'll say that.
Yeah, the our game here is we just gotta watch it before we judge.
Yeah.
And I think that's where ultimately you and I agree. Our points of view, divergent though may be, they eventually come together in the sense that we're like, no, we're just gonna judge the fucking thing. If it sucks, oh well. Yeah. And if it doesn't, cool. So we watched this thing, and look, this thing, I gotta admit, had a lot of red flags for me. One, the primary one being that Will Smith is in it. Hitch himself.
As Hitch.
It's not that I hate Will Smith, though I profess to quite often.
Yeah.
It's that there's just something about him that's never quite, you know, rang my bell, if you will. Yeah. Now, I love a number of Will Smith movies.
Yeah, you're like, that's hot.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's hot, but, you know, I am. The point is, I do like a number of them, but there's just something about him that always makes me go, man, it's just... Sometimes, I should say, it makes me go, it just ended up being a Will Smith movie. Yeah. Instead of, it's a movie. You know what I'm saying? So, that was red flag number one. Red flag number two, I think everybody agreed on this across the board, was that first trailer, I think it was, or second, whatever, where they showed the animation for Hitch, the genie. And, you know, it wasn't looking good. It was looking pretty crap.
They definitely improved on that.
Yes, big time.
Yeah, so
that's
but yeah, that first thing was...
Third,
terrifying.
Yes, very terrifying. Third, I think, was the idea that maybe, just maybe, this one was the one that wasn't going to work on screen.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people were like, oh, that one didn't work for me, live action.
Yeah, they be hating.
You know, of the ones I've seen, I either liked them a lot or I was okay with them. So this one was the first time I was like, oh, I don't know, I don't think this one's gonna gel, maybe, you know. And then, of course, another element of a sort of a red flag was that Guy Ritchie was directing it. Now, I like Guy Ritchie, except for Swept Away, stinky, but that's a weird guy to get to direct a Disney movie. You know what I'm saying?
He's not the guy.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning of this guy's career was literally anti-Disney. He was a knockoff of Quentin Tarantino that actually made good movies. That's another rarity, by the way.
Be hating.
I mean, he was, you know, a lot of people still to this day copy Tarantino. Yeah. He was like the English Tarantino copy.
Yeah.
But he actually was good at it. So, you know, how do you get from there to Disney?
Madonna ruined him a little for a while.
Maybe that.
That was a turning point.
That was a turning point for old Rich E, that is. The point is, there was a lot of red flags. for me. Was there, besides the ones I mentioned, was there any for you? Other than you're not really a Disney guy per se. I'm not either, don't get me wrong. I'm just, you know.
Not really. I mean, other than the first trailer where it looks terrifying, the ones you've already mentioned. I didn't really care, if I'm going to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. I particularly didn't even find the trailers that interesting.
Right, I didn't either. I guess we could count that in there. Yeah, they weren't really interesting trailers at all.
I've never seen the original movie other than clips here and there.
Okay.
So I was just like, that's the thing that happened.
All right.
So and then I found out it made $1 billion, and I was like, what?
Yeah. So this is where it gets interesting because I have watched the movie. I grew up with that movie. Yeah. It's sort of like that and Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, of course. The Renaissance, Disney Renaissance movies were the ones that I grew up with. They came out around when I was a kid. So me and a bunch of people that grew up with those, they're super important to them. Yeah. Even if they're not like, I'm not a Disney guy. I'm not a Disney kid. But, I mean, that shit was just everywhere. Yeah. And they're good. They're just genuinely good movies. So, to me, they're relevant. Culturally relevant. As a cinephile, they're relevant. And, they have a place in my heart, if you will.
And they saved Disney. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it's yet to be seen.
And indeed. Yeah. To you, you didn't grow up with them. You weren't really exposed to them. So, especially this one at all. So it means nothing. So we'll have interesting to see. We'll see where that takes us in terms of where we view this movie. A lot of people were, of course, the immediate thing is we don't need this. Who's asking for this? Yeah, I think there is an audience that's asking for this. Yeah, I'm one of them.
It is an odd thing where I know the vocal majority is just hating, but there is kind of a weird novelty to seeing something animated.
There's almost like a fascinating nature to see if it's going to work or not. Even. Yeah. Like a car crash type of thing, potentially, And if it makes it across from one cliff to another, you're like, all right.
Yeah. Like I've always said, I would love to see a live-action Toy Story.
God damn. Imagine that shit. Terror.
Yes.
From beyond. Truly Lovecraftian live-action Toy Story coming soon from us. Yeah. I'm Buzz. You're Woody, and you only have a vest.
We're naked. Yeah, we're naked the whole time. We can't we don't afford the budget for the suits.
I just have a dome. Yeah. I'm naked, and the dome's clear. Yeah. So good luck with that one, eyeballs.
That's not good.
Anyway, so we'll get working on that. But yeah, you know what? There is an audience for this, and the box office proves it. Yeah. Now, some people may dismiss that as they're just a bunch of ignoramuses that are eating up whatever Disney spits out. But kind of that's always been the thing. What Disney spits out, people eat up. If it's good or bad, they go and watch it. And, even at its lowest points, they managed to make it out of that. And that's kind of surprising because they had some very low points Disney did. That, almost was like the end of them. So people will go watch it. Yeah, sure. But there's, like I said, I'm one of those people that's very interested to see if they can achieve this or not. And if they can, cool, man. I'm all for it. So there is an audience. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know a lot of people aren't that audience, but there's other people in the world, folks. Yeah. So let's get over that hill. So let's talk about this movie, man. I think I'm gonna just tell you straight up. I do have some issues with it, but they're kind of minor. I gotta say, I actually really enjoyed this offering. I think it added a lot of stuff to what was already there. So that in itself, and the stuff was good and relevant to the themes and to what was already the story we liked or loved. And I think it got over some of the biggest hills pretty quick. I think the big glaring one was that everybody loved Robin Williams as Genie. Now, I'm not a fan, and you know this, I'm not a fan of Robin Williams. Yeah. Now, that alone might get me a bunch of people wanting to torch me in the village square a la Frankenstein, but I don't hate Robin Williams. I just like his dramatic stuff better. I think he was an incredible dramatic actor.
Yeah, I find his comedic stuff quite grating sometimes.
Yes, I didn't like him as a comedian, period. One of the worst comedians of all time. Yeah. I'm just going to put it out there.
And he himself kind of admitted to it several times.
Yeah, he wasn't a good comedian, guys. I'm sorry. He was just not good. He was not clever. He was not particularly observant. He was just a weird guy to watch. Yeah. And some people find that funny, and that's fine. I didn't. And I do like some of his comedy stuff. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy Mrs. Doubtfire.
You have a Patch Adams tattoo on your back.
I definitely don't have that. Patch Adams kind of licked donkeys. But, you know what I'm saying? I like some of the comedy stuff, but overall, could do without it.
Yeah.
Dramatic stuff, love it. So I'm not a hater either, is what I'm getting at. But I think everybody pretty much loved him as a genie.
Yeah.
And he was kind of like that watershed moment for Disney, you know, where having a star, you kind of got to say, like Garth Brooks did for country, Robin Williams did for filling your cast of animated movies with big stars. Because he set this precedent for, wait a minute, we could have a huge name.
They're like it was a character that they could cash in on, basically.
Yeah, basically.
And then even though I never saw this movie as a kid, I had a genie toy.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those things.
Which, by the way, and I respect him for this, he disapproved of it. That was what kind of like his deal with Disney, that he said, I'm going to do this, but don't make this a merchandising thing. And they violated that, and he didn't speak to Disney for a long... Yeah, they violated that rough.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't speak to Disney. He didn't deal with Disney for a very long time until the guy in charge, you know, there was a change in positions of power. So I respect him for that, man. And yes, the genie was the most alluring thing about that particular animated movie, and it's great animation. And I know there's a lot of people that say you can't replicate the magic of animation. Yeah, I know you can't. And sometimes a movie will try and they'll fail to do that, but I don't think this one tried to do that at all. I think with certain things, yes, of course you want to try to recapture a certain element on screen, yes, but it also did its own thing and it had its own language. So I just gotta say that it kind of surprised me that I enjoyed it as much as I did, because I didn't expect that. I thought maybe this was gonna be like, all right, well, that was a movie, or at worst, holy crap, that sucked. But I kind of get how it made a lot of money. It's a crowd pleaser, you know what I'm saying? So that's my take off the cuff. What's your take?
I think I would agree with most things.
Mm-hmm.
I did have one major problem with it, and unfortunately, it's kind of a full movie problem.
All right.
That being said, I think I could kind of overlook it because there is a lot of strengths in there, and it is ultimately a fun movie.
Okay. So we'll talk about the details of this, especially the problems. In fact, you know what? Let's start off with issues we might have had with this. In fact, let's just shoot off whatever we think, in good or bad, but let's start with that. I think one issue I had with this is the casting for Jafar. That's a big one for me. You know, Jafar, to me, and I don't mean that like, oh, you didn't do my Jafar. No, I don't mean that. I just mean this is a fucking villain. You know, he's supposed to have a presence. He's supposed to be menacing. And this guy that portrayed him, I'm not saying he was bad. He was a guy that was not really memorable.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess I kind of give him some credit because, especially at the end, when he gets all this power, he kind of ends up taking the movie out of something that I'll talk about right now. So he's not an entire loss, but I do feel that better casting in terms of him would have been a great help to the movie.
He does kind of give off like a used car salesman type of vibe.
Yeah, first. You know, like kind of like a, you know, he's sleazy,
but he's kind of lame.
But you're cheap, so you'll buy the car.
Yeah,
but you're not really inconvenienced. Yeah, I get you. Whereas an actual car salesman, you're like, I'm getting fucked right now. Paying 10,000 billion bucks for an air conditioner. That's right, 10,000 billion, an actual number now. So yeah, I get you, man. Yeah. You know, he just didn't have the oomph to really, really be Jafar, but he wasn't a total loss, and he certainly didn't ruin the movie.
I think ultimately he ends up kind of working. Towards the end, especially. Mm-hmm. I do have a casting problem though.
All right, tell me, hit me. Not the fucking monkey, right?
No, the monkey was perfectly cast. CGI does it again.
Yeah. High five for CGI monkeys. I'm all for CGI monkeys.
They perfected the CGI monkey technology. Is all I gotta say. That being said, man, I kind of didn't like the dude that played Aladdin.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now, sometimes he works, and I think during like the music stuff, he works really well, and visually he fits the bill. but he's kind of wooden in other scenes.
Okay.
And I like kind of at times, like especially towards the end, I was like, dude, this dude is wood. But I think for the most part, he ends up working in the middle part. You know, once the genie comes in, they work well together. And some of the stuff with the princess is okay. It's just at times his delivery leaves stuff to be desired. A lot to be desired, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like the kind of more emotional moments, I don't think he really comes across well in those. So it's kind of like a thing where, like, he works sometimes, but other times I was a little frustrated with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not terrible. I don't want to say he's terrible. It's just, yeah, sometimes I was like, man, this dude, though.
Yeah, I'll echo that. Maybe not to the intense burn your entire village and crops way you're saying, but I'll mirror that in this sense. I had to preview watch the first 20 minutes to see if the copy I had worked.
Or was it Russian?
Or wasn't in Russian. # illegal download. Hey, look, man, we're not getting paid for this fucking channel.
Also,
because
Disney.
we don't want to censor ourselves. Also Disney, so we got to get that copy somehow, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, don't worry, Disney. I'm going to buy it, so shut your mouths.
You're by second hand, though, so...
Yeah, second hand, so you're not getting any fucking money from me. The point is, Disney rapes people for money.
Yes.
End
and
of
probably
story.
real life.
Yeah, I mean, that's obvious.
Yes.
But anyway, the point is, yeah, the first time I watched those 20 minutes, I had the same feeling. I didn't loathe him, but I was like, there's something about this. Now, I went on and read that, you know, basically got people, he's a newcomer. He's like, out of nowhere guy.
Yeah, I could see that.
And, you know, the casting was kind of like, again, they're trying to cast it in the culture, which, you know, for a movie like this is kind of wise.
Yeah, you don't want a Dominic Cooper running around.
Yeah, yeah, you know, Dominic Cooper's a Turkish guy. Not going to work.
Yeah.
But here, you know, yeah, you need to cast within those parameters.
Yeah.
So, I get it. You know, they were searching for someone. I think they got someone that could do everything adequately.
Fine.
Yes. And there's a lot demanded of the role. You know,
Yeah.
it's a musical. There's dance numbers. There's, you know, you have to fit a certain look and all that stuff. And I think he has the look, like you say.
Yeah,
he definitely has the look.
He really does look like him, and in some of like the earlier stuff, you could kind of see shades of what he's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like sometimes he's not great.
I think the look gets him a long way, surprisingly, because this is a guy who is charming to look at. Let's just say that. You know what I'm saying? There's just some people that look charming.
Yeah.
And when he smiles or when he does certain things a certain way, and yes, when he kind of hits the notes right, that comes off.
Yeah.
However, yes, he does have a little trouble.
Yeah.
And, you know, ultimately, I think you'll agree, it doesn't really hurt the movie.
Yeah, it doesn't really hurt the movie. It's just mostly in those kind of like bigger moments towards the end.
Yeah.
Where he's trying to, you know, bring up certain things against Jafar, and you're kind of like, dude, you're just standing there saying your lines.
Yeah, yeah.
But for the most part, it works okay.
Now, I also think this applies a little bit less, though, to the chick playing the princess, Jasmine. But not to the degree of him, you know. And so, yeah, I get you. I get where you're coming from. But yeah, I think we both agree it didn't deter from enjoying the movie.
Yeah.
But yes,
a little wooden.
I can get on that boat a little bit. Now here's one. I don't know if you felt this or not, but there's a particular portion in this movie where I think maybe it could use a little trimming, but at the same time it maybe not, because this is kind of an important part of the movie, especially in reference to its themes. And it falls towards the latter end of the movie, and it's where Aladdin, you know, kind of begins to like the idea, if you will, or think that he needs to be this prince, to not be himself. And I mean, that's what this movie is all about. It's basically a parable about the importance of being yourself, and they've added another layer in this go round by saying that it's also important not to let society to tell you who you are. So that was cool, especially because they added a lot of meat to Jasmine, which she didn't have any in the original. She was just a princess, a Disney princess. So they gave her a lot more to do here, and her, what they gave her, I should say, was very relevant to the themes at hand. Also, the way Genie works, that also tied into all that. So that all that stuff thematically was good, very good. However, there were at that point when Aladdin, kind of is indulging. Maybe it's that they spent too much time in that particular section, not that particular part of him. I'm just saying that part of the movie. But there's something about that movie where I was like, oh, this is kind of losing its steam a little. But then immediately, again, and I alluded to this earlier, when Jafar gets his powers, it's like they patched that up right away. So I don't know what could have fixed that little kind of lull, or maybe it's just something I was feeling at the particular time, and I won't feel it when I watch it again. But it didn't hurt the movie. It's just something I felt, and but it, like I said, it patched it up. And by the time the movie was over, it was like it didn't even happen. So just something worth mentioning. Give me something else, man. Negative or positive doesn't matter to me.
I think a shocking positive. Despite the fact that I myself also am not a Will Smith fan, despite jamming hardcore day and night to that Men in Black theme. Dude, it's my jam. He stole it though. He stole it from
that. #jams.
Oh shit, my jam. Anyway. I think he was pretty good Genie, man. I liked him.
Yeah.
Dug him. I liked the little sub story he had. Ended up working.
Yeah. There's two things, in my opinion, that make this movie. That are the strongest in this movie, and he's one of them. And again, going back to what we said about Robin Williams, everybody loved Robin Williams in the original movie, and that's a hill that he managed to climb, and this movie managed to climb almost immediately. It's almost miraculous how quickly he gets over that, and I think that they managed to pull that off is what kept people going back to see it, because that was an almost insurmountable hill. It's like the Joker thing, they still haven't, maybe this Joaquin Phoenix thing, but once somebody embodies a role so much that they're synonymous with it, how do you fucking replace that? And that was Genie. And I don't know how he did it, man. He was charismatic. He added his own flavor. At the same time, there was a lot of homages to Robin Williams stuff.
I think it's the fact that he was just doing his own thing. He wasn't trying to be Robin Williams.
Yeah.
There is a lot of those little things.
Yeah, they definitely do. I mean, some of the songs are straight out of the original. Some are not. But they've altered them just enough so that it's also Will Smith. And then there's also the new material, and it's just somehow like he was always the Genie. He does a fantastic job, man. I agree. I was fucking surprised at how well he pulled that off. They all pulled it off so quickly.
Yeah.
And, he comes in about like 25 to 30 minutes into the movie, and it's almost like an expectation, like, oh shit, he's coming. Is this going to break it? And then, like, I don't know about you, but it was almost immediate. Like, holy shit, this guy pulled it off.
I think at that point, that's kind of where I was like, okay, it's not going to suck. Because I was still a little iffy because of the Aladdin guy. The movie was okay up to that point, but it's your main character is not that great. It's a little worrying. But, yeah, he ended up kind of being like, okay. And then it was kind of a turning point for me where I ended up enjoying the movie, or being able to enjoy the movie more because he was there.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
And wisely, it is Genie heavy, and he is, of course, kind of like the fulcrum upon which a lot of these characters come to realizations, and vice versa. So that was a very wise move to just kind of depend on this guy. And, again, surprising for me. I think maybe everybody was kind of surprised by this. I'm pretty sure they were. Like, what? How? How does it work?
Everybody's still like, he's torrid.
Okay, so let's touch on this other one. Maybe you'll agree with me, and maybe you know. I think the other thing, I mentioned two things that are the strongest in this movie. The other thing is that they really, really leaned into the idea of this being a musical. The original is, it has musical numbers, and they're relevant, and those numbers are still intact here. But they've added more stuff, and, they really went whole hog on this big, lavish, colorful production angle to it. And
this is like the most expensive Bollywood movie you'll ever see.
yeah, there's a Bollywood element to it. It's just visually lush. It looks like a big stage production, and I emphasize that there's a staginess to it that I think was very intentional. And if it wasn't, well, shit, it ended up working for it because this looks like a stage production, only shot on film. So it doesn't have that Cats look, but you know what I'm saying. It's dress and costumes and makeup and elaborate dance numbers and hundreds and hundreds of people, synchronized dancing, all that shit that's in the musical. Musical soliloquies and then all that stuff that's in there. They just leaned heavier into it. And I think those are kind of like the best moments in the movie, especially for a character like Aladdin.
Yeah,
those are the best moments for it. Jasmine gets a lot of that stuff, and she has one of the best songs and moments in the movie. So I think that was the wisest thing they did in terms of the actual film as a whole. Is that they leaned heavy into that because this being a live action thing, that would be your most secure way to bring these fantastical elements to some sort of credible life.
Yeah.
And still maintain these song and dance numbers. I love that, man. And maybe it's just because I'm biased because I do like a good musical, but I think it really worked. I think it really gelled for just about everyone. So I'll say that positively. What do you got, man?
Yeah, I just assumed all those songs were in the movie because, again, haven't seen it. Hashtag cool guy over here.
Hashtag loser, you mean?
Yeah. I think a big thing that people took away from the trailers was the hideous genie.
Hideous genie.
Which is why I kind of want to touch on another positive.
All right.
I think the effects are quite good.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, even the genie effects. Now, he is a little puffy, but when you look at the animation for Robin Williams, he was puffy as shit.
Puffy guy.
So you kind of get it. And then later you get a scene where he's like freaking pumping iron. So he's super muscular. Anyway, just like the genie stuff was really cool to look at. But not only that, obviously all the other effects were quite good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a thing that I know everybody was shitting on, even myself. But they ended up working through it and making them work.
Really, studios gotta stop releasing unfinished shots, because it's fucking them. In this modern age where everybody's ready to destroy and cancel everything before it even happens, you gotta stop doing that, studios. Yeah. It would have saved you a lot of fucking trouble. In the end, it ended up working because somebody wanted to watch this fucking movie, clearly.
Yeah.
But it could have fucking make you fall flat on your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, really good effects. I gotta agree. The animals look good, and they don't ever go into this like insanely photorealistic angle like the Lion King movie does. Haven't seen it, but I'm just saying from the trailers.
Yeah.
But they do look realistic, and yet fantastical enough to fit into the spirit of the movie. So
little monkey has like a little hair. That goes
yeah, hashtag monkey is awesome.
Yeah, CGI
because it's a monkey.
CGI monkey fans over here.
So yeah, I gotta agree with you, man. Very good. Of course, the classic numbers are slightly updated here and there, and all that works. Genie is adequately anachronistic as he should be, but not as much as Robin Williams was, which is good because that was kind of Robin Williams' shtick. But they do throw in a few gags, especially like the Fresh Prince gag, which was in the trailers. And that's cool, and I'm glad that they just, like you say, let Will Smith do his own thing in that regard. So that's all a big plus. And working in conjunction with that, I think the flow of the movie, except for that minor spot where I told you about, is pretty well paced. Like, it doesn't feel like a 2-hour plus movie. It runs at a steady clip, and And again, it doesn't feel rushed either. So, again, surprising that they could add that much stuff to something that was relatively short.
Yeah.
And keep it entertaining for that long. Especially with a weak-ass Jafar. I'm just saying. Hashtag weak-ass Jafar. So,
hashtag sold me my car. Hashtag don't have a car.
Dude, it wouldn't have cost that much to get an older guy. An older guy. You didn't even have to be the greatest actor.
Yeah, Ben Kingsley.
Just like an old... Yeah, Ben Kingsley, dude. He does anything at this point. He was in like a shitty sci-fi movie. Come on, man. Ben. He's fucking of Persian descent of some sort, right? Or Indian or some bullshit. Fits. If the shoe fits, stick him in there, damn it.
Ben! Maybe they were like, dude, Ben's gonna bring down the value of our movie. It's been
That's
too much
true.
crap.
Ben, man. Gets around. Old Ben does.
Yeah.
But anyway, anything else you want to add to this before we go into final thoughts and, you know, a little grade there?
I think we got all of it, in my opinion.
All right. So let's get into the final thoughts and a final score on a scale of 1 to 10. Again, relative to movies of its type. Now, as aforementioned, I guess a little biased because I have liked a lot of these. Maleficent is a particular favorite. I like Beauty and the Beast, which I know a lot of people are like, oh, man, come on, guys. It's the fucking same movie with a little bit more substance. Get over it. It's good. Eat me. But anyway.
That's a good way to...
And I'm always, look, I might not seem like it with my propensity to love horror, but I'm a guy that likes a good, wholesome film if it's done well. You know, and this could be, you know, like in a serious way, or in this case, just a big, lavish, musical way. And that's cool, man. There's a lot of good messages here that, you know, maybe a little bit on the nose at times, but, you know, it's a movie that kids are supposed to enjoy too. And I think this is a movie that a whole family, I'm just going to say both adults and kids, but fucking a whole family, granny, whatever, they can all enjoy this movie because there's a lot to enjoy in it. Despite whatever minor flaws you might or might not see in it. So, shit, man. I mean, for me, this is a winner. I know I got a lot of fucking flack from critics, but clearly people like it. And, you know, sometimes, you know, critically speaking, I get it. You're supposed to try to see this in light of every other movie ever made, but sometimes that's not the right approach for a movie. Sometimes
clearly, it's not going to reach the levels of a King's Speech.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, you got to keep it where it's at. And where it's at is this type of fare. And as far as this type of fare goes, pretty damned entertaining, I got to say. So, I'm going to give it a strong 8, man. I really enjoyed this fucking thing. Lo and behold. Give it to me. What do you think?
I think, obviously it's not going to reach the levels of King's Speech, as I've mentioned before. Hashtag perfect movie. But
hashtag you haven't seen that ever?
Nope, never will either. Sounds super uninteresting. Anyway, it might be good though.
Oh,
anyway,
I'm pretty sure it's good.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be great.
It's from the guy who made Cats. I mean, come on. Anyway,
Kiss Cats is not, thus it gets a perfect 10. No, yeah, I didn't expect to enjoy it, but it was pretty fun. Even if you have, probably, I mean, I haven't seen the thing, so I can't really speak to anybody who's seen it. But if you're one of those people that's hating before you even see it, stop being a butthole.
Yeah.
Dude,
having seen it, I can attest to that. Stop.
Yeah. This is one of those where the vocal minority, clearly, because everyone on Earth saw it, apparently. It made $10 trillion.
It's shocking how much it made. And it's like nobody even heard that it made that much.
I know, dude.
All of a sudden, people were like, damn, this thing made $1 gazillion?
Yeah. So, yeah, don't listen to everybody sometimes. Make up your little mind.
Yeah. Always make up your own mind.
Yeah. Unless you're wrong. Unless you hate the King's Speech, then you're wrong.
It might cost you a ticket of a movie, but at least you know that you decided what the fuck you thought about it. King's Speech style.
Hashtag perfect. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. I gotta say, I hate to say, no, I don't hate to say. It's just one of those things I didn't expect.
Yeah.
So I'll give it
begrudgingly say.
Yeah. So I'll give it an 8 too. I think it's pretty fun. Yeah. Despite the fact I had to take points off because my boy Aladdin is a little bit of wooden.
Where you're on the Aladdin thing, I'm on the Jafar thing, man. I think it's such a missed opportunity.
I think we both had different.
Yeah. But I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
He just I get maybe it was that I saw this 20 minutes and then I went in again just knowing he ended up being very likable for me. But Jafar, although not the cataclysmic failure that I thought he was gonna be, definitely a void of charisma of any sort. Villains can have charisma too, fucks.
I think Jafar's just kind of a
guy.
It's kind of like a scummy guy. Yeah. He's not really like evil cool.
He's a placeholder actor. Like that's a guy that was adequate.
Like they couldn't get Ben Kingsley, so they got.
Yeah, how can you not get Ben Kingsley, dude? He's like everywhere. Yeah. He's right now. He's like cleaning my toilet.
He's literally right there.
$10. Ben. Anyway, there's got to be another guy besides Ben Kingsley that could have gotten.
I can't think of anyone, dude.
It would resurrect Christopher Lee from the dead. You know, I know he's not of any Middle Eastern descent, but come on, man. The guy played Fu Manchu at one point. It's okay.
He's dead.
Yeah, it's all right. His corpse would have been better than this guy.
Hey, you be hating on Jafar.
But he does kind of round it out at the end. Whatever. You know, he's all right. Also, hashtag Iago was the real puppet master in this fucking movie.
What the flip?
I was kind of at first like, man, how do you not bring Gilbert Gottfried back? He's alive, you know. But but as the movie progressed, one thing became clear to us. This guy was secretly pulling this parrot, I should say, was secretly pulling the strings.
Dude, he's the freaking mastermind.
Yeah. Hashtag Iago mastermind. Hashtag our supreme leader.
Yeah.
But anyway, let us know what you think about Aladdin, man. And if you haven't seen it or you're like stubbornly crossing your arms, just see it. Just see it and make up your mind. You may not like it, but for crap's sake, at least make up your mind. That's all we're asking for here, folks. Make up your stanky minds by yourself. Don't repeat. Don't bleat like the sheep.
Don't bleat like one. You ruined it.
Yep.
don't repeat like a parrot, like a macaw.
No. You ruined that.
Yeah, the parrot.
I ruined it, and then you just shat on it.
Dude, I was trying to bring in the parrot because he's my master and he's in my brain right now.
So, anyway, let us know what you think about this. In the meantime, hit like, share, subscribe, and don't forget those notification buttons because YouTube sure as hell is not going to promote us. Until next time, we're out.